or computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. How you all doing? Today is the United States' 249th birthday, and I can't think of a better way to make my forefathers proud than to work on some video games. So we're going to do that. But before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Gunforged is available for sale. It's currently 50% off in the Steam Summer Sale. So if you're interested in 2D roguelite shooters, definitely give this a look and purchase it if you're interested. It's a great way to support me. And also leave a review if you end up playing it. I would appreciate that. Also, I have my Udemy courses available for sale. I'm happy to say that the new Udemy course that I'm working on, which is the online cooperative multiplayer course, it's basically finished. All I'm doing is I'm waiting on a thumbnail. I commissioned an artist to create a thumbnail for the course. So I just need that, and then I need to go through the Udemy approval process. So probably by middle of next week, the course will be available. But I also have these other courses available too. So if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, check those out. They're linked in the description below. And again, they're a great way to support me. So yeah, and if you're curious, that new course is 18 hours of video content. So it's about on par in length with the Survivors course. It's also in GD script, so I think you'll like it. So anyway, that is that. Let's get right into it. Hello, Ito Makes Games. Welcome back. iCode Stuff, good to see you again. Exio, hello, hello. Balato, hello. I am the Magic Man. Hello, Iwab. Welcome. Good to see you again. Schlurgy, welcome back. Red Velvet, good to see you. Lots of familiar faces here. Rookie Tookie, welcome back. Yummers, Snupbill, good to see you. We all love the Yummers message, as always. Good to see you. Hello, Emerson. Hello, Fat Kid Games. Happy 4th to you as well. Lukey, good morning to you. How are you planning to implement the light part of roguelite? That's a good question. I need to come up with a meta progression system. All those things will be figured out after I've got like the core loop done. And, you know, it could be things like unlocking more cards. I'm still open to the idea of creating like multiple different playable characters that have their own like benefits. So, you know, in like Balatro, you've got the different decks you can play with. Slay the Spire, you've got different heroes you can play as. So I think doing something similar might be cool in this game, but I have to see how the game shapes up first. I think the meta progression will just be something that's, I don't want to use the word afterthought because that makes it sound like it's not being thought through properly, but I think that that's going to be something that's informed by how the core gameplay loop shapes up. And, so I haven't really thought too much about that yet. Hello, Alpha Player. Welcome back. Good to see you again. What a better way to do them proud than being an independent game dev. Seriously. Free from the AAA tyranny or whatever. I don't know. Anyway. So yesterday we created this gauntlet that went through multiple phases of looking like a crab and then a caterpillar and then something that is just like not a gauntlet. But now we have a gauntlet here, and I think the gauntlet looks a lot better. And now that somebody said that there's no thumb, which I actually think is fine. Which hand is this on? It could be the right hand. Oh no. The proportions are off for it to be the right hand. What happens if I just do something like this? Make like a thumb here. Somebody said that it lacked a thumb, and maybe that's true. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see. I'm already off into the weeds. See, that just looks weird. What if I just made it thinner? Nope, that's going to look weird too. Okay, we're just going to assume that maybe the thumb is over here then. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, we're just going to leave it as is. I think it's fine. We're going to have to excuse the fact that there's no thumb. That's all right. Okay, anyway, now's not the time to change the art. So the gauntlet here, I can't remember what it was supposed to do. I think it's going to do damage. Let's see. Let's see. This item gains damage after every successful combat and applies that damage to the minion if it's the only minion on the board. So this is going to be a relatively tricksy one, I think. But we might as well just get started on it. So let's do resources, data, artifact. We're going to create a new resource, artifact resource. And this is the Iron Gauntlet. Did I spell that right? I did. Iron Gauntlet art. Oh, I need to copy some stuff over. Make unique. Edit region. I believe these are 24 by 24. There we go. There's our gauntlet. Description. Gains 1 damage after each successful combat. This damage is applied to any minion if it is the only minion. I don't want to say maybe in play, maybe on the board. Or let's just do on the board. Well, we won't be fancy with it. Okay. So we've got a relatively complicated artifact to do here. So it's going to probably touch a lot of the game systems, which is fine. Artifact. New artifact. Iron Gauntlet. Okay, we don't need any of these. Okay, so I don't know how I'm going to do this. Hello, Happy Creeper, welcome back. Hello, Ali, welcome back to you as well. Peter Gams, welcome, good to see you. I'm doing well, how are you doing? Hello, Julio, I hope it's pronounced Julio. Been watching your lives for quite a few days, really cool work, man. Thank you, I appreciate that. I see the gauntlet as having a thumb folded under the palm. Yeah, we're going to go with that. That's what we're going to do. You're going to explode again? Always role-playing as the creeper. Don't blow up the chat, please. You should add meta progression so that you can unlock more artifacts and events and cards you can get in a run. Yeah, I think something like that would be cool. I vote no thumb. Yeah, I think no thumb is the work. It's the left hand. Yeah, it could be the left hand. What do you think of stopping Killing Games petition? I don't know anything about that. I don't follow anything that happens in Europe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Himanshu, welcome back. Damien, good to see you. Since you said you're not doing any sprite frame-by-frame animations, is your health bar Flask a shader? It is, yeah. So the only animations that I have is are either in-engine with Animation Player or tweens or shaders. Firebelly's rocking the rugged look. Yeah, I need to shave, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay if I look like I just crawled out of the wilderness, I guess. What are we going to do today? We're adding the programming for the Iron Gauntlet artifact. Curious to know why you put all the scripts in a scripts directory. Is it for better visibility in VS Code? Yeah, that's the main reason. The other reason too is that I need a scripts directory anyway, because all of these things don't have corresponding scenes. None of these things have corresponding scenes that you see here. None of this. So I would need a scripts directory anyway that would be loaded with scripts. So I just separate them by default. I don't follow anything that happens in Europe. Spoken like a true American on July 4th. I have to do it. I have to be over the top today. Is artifact different than relic in your game's context? Yeah, a relic in this game is a tag that is applied to a card. So a card can have a tag, can be a type of relic. And so I just needed a different name for the items that are like, that you can get that are passive buffs essentially. So I just use artifact instead. But I think they are called relics in other games. I think in Slay the Spire they're called relics. But like I said, I was already using that term. I could flip them too. Like I could make the tag artifact instead of relic. But the cards that have the tag of relic have a more like religious theme to them or like a ceremonial theme to them. So it seems more appropriate to call those relics rather than these artifacts. Happy 4th of July. Thank you, thank you, Naz. Ninyas. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Good to see you. Good to see you. So there's a couple of problems here. So first things first, this needs to gain damage. Private int current damage. And this needs to happen after the on combat victory here. So let's override on combat victory. Public override void on combat victory. And all I'm going to do is just do current damage plus plus. So that's all I need to do. Now there is a problem here, which is that I probably should be able to see the current damage that you're getting in the artifact tooltip. So let me think about that. Artifact tooltip. Highlight keywords, artifact description. I need almost like a get, I don't know. Let's do something like public virtual string get description addendum or something. I don't even know if that's proper English. I should probably not get too fancy with my vocabulary, but we'll just return null. And now when I'm constructing the tooltip for the artifact, I need to account for that addendum. Oh, do I not have the actual artifact? Oh, I don't have the actual artifact here. I think I have a reference to it actually through here. Yeah, I do. Okay, so that's attached to the resource. So what I can do then is I can do... Maybe I'll put this on the resource. Public string get full description BB code. Something like that. And then in here, var addendum is get description addendum is null or empty. Let's just do, yeah, that's fine actually. We don't want that though. Oops. So now in my artifact tooltip, instead of doing artifact resource description, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. Let's do get full description. Yeah, we'll call it get full description. And then in here, we're going to do get full description. And what I might do is I might make this description private now. I'm going to make this private for now because I don't want to accidentally reference that description property in the future when I should be using this get full description. Okay, so that's good. Let's just see what happens with that. So run manager. I'll just put it in here. This.get artifact manager dot add artifact registry dot from ID artifact ID dot, oh, I need to add the iron gauntlet in here. Iron gauntlet. All right, let's see what that does. Did you switch to C#? No, I've been using C# for a long time. On my personal projects anyway. Did you already add purple grass at the other videos? Oh, in the map here? I think so. Why is everything being laggy? Oh, I didn't override the additional damage. Public override void. Oh, string. String get description addendum. Return. I'm doing the JavaScript. I've been doing React and native code for my part-time job. No, I'm not React. Current damage. Current damage. There we go. Okay, now we'll try it. My wire nodes from your Godot utils were throwing a null reference error when I was using it. I read through the README, but can't figure out my error. Any tips to get it to function properly? I think you might be missing the... Did you put the scene annotation at the top? The scene annotation, I think, is what tags the class as needing to have that wire nodes method. Only if you have time, but do you have a video going over add-ons to VS Code and one on code structure early into my first big project, and I still feel like I have a lot to learn on it? Well, the VS Code would be rather boring because the only relevant extensions here are the .NET stuff. So C#, C# dev kit, .NET install tool, which I think all gets installed when you install the C# dev kit. And then I just have like the Dracula theme and... I mean, I have a lot of extensions here, but the only ones relevant to what I'm doing right now are like the themes and those things, as well as Copilot. But again, that gets automatically installed when you enable Copilot. None of this other stuff is useful for the work I'm doing, except for, I guess, to-do tree here. So... current damage 0. Okay, so that description looks great. Now I want to see if that number goes up when I beat someone. And I didn't win, so that's great. Resurrect. Okay, so this should say current damage 1 now, so that works great. My variable names match my node names, so not too sure. I'm out of town, but I'll check. Okay, yeah. What am I going to do with the loading screen? I don't know yet. I'll figure that out soon. This game will not need much of a loading screen, so I'm not going to go overboard on the art at all. Everything can be pretty much instantaneously loaded. Game dev birthday, yes indeed. Is C# better than GDScript? No, I wouldn't say it's better. No, whatever is better is whatever you're more productive with. I like the visuals you have in VS Code with green and red for errors. Those effects look really good in the battle. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So now we got to make this functional. That's the big thing we got to do. Oh boy, I have no clue how I'm going to do this. So essentially what I need to do is, let's do basic iron gauntlet in place. What I need to do is I need a way of like augmenting a current card with a new ability, but only conditionally. How am I going to do that? The way I'm thinking about doing it is add an on card added to board in here. So if I do an on card added to board with the proper context, then I can do a bunch of setup in here. And what I could do is I could do like a private simple damage ability here. Damage ability is equal to new simple damage And the magnitude is going to be current damage. Let's just do 0, I guess. Actually, let's do new. And then in combat victory, I would say damage ability dot set. No, damage ability dot. Oh, can I not change the magnitude? I think I might have to do this. Public void set magnitude. I don't want to do this, but original magnitude equals magnitude. This is a read-only field, so I gotta remove that now. And then I'm also gonna do a scale for tier. Shoot. How am I gonna do this? Set magnitude, original magnitude. Set base magnitude. Get base magnitude. I don't know if I like this. I might have to change this. I don't want to do that. So these are relatively rigid after they get created for cards. So basically the only way that these are designed is to have an initial configuration. They're not really designed to be changed after they're created. So supporting the ability to change like the simple damage magnitude here is going to be a lot more difficult than I think it should be. The alternative is to just say damage ability is equal to new simple damage, current damage. The problem though is that the way I was thinking about approaching this is I just append this damage ability to any card that gets added to the scene. I think I could do a very naive approach instead. Let me think. So I have this abilities list here. Get all abilities. I could add that here inside of this get all abilities. Maybe what I can do in here is I can do this. Public base composed ability. Get composed abilities. Return that. And then in here in the base card, oh shoot. This is going to be tough. Base artifact. I have a list of artifacts in the artifact context. I have no way of accessing the artifacts within here. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. How am I going to do this? I have no clue how to do this. Hello, Yeet. Welcome back. On card added board mechanic, you can only execute that effect when the board is locked in, correct? No, I could do it. I mean, the tricky part of that about this is that I need to indicate on the card that it's gaining damage from the gauntlet. I need to indicate that on the card description. So a player needs to be able to drag a card over onto the board and then verify that the gauntlet is taking effect. And so I can't just like do it when the board is locked in. I need to show the player like up-to-date information about the state of the game. So that's going to be the tricky part. What did you do with the gauntlet? We're working on that. Yeah, it's here. We're working on the logic for it. If you remove the card from the board, does the damage reset? No, so the thing is the gauntlet maintains the damage, a running count of the damage here. But it only applies that damage to a minion if it's the only minion on the board. Don't cry no more, I'm here. Welcome, Arion. I can finally wipe the tears from my eyes. Good to see you again. I think it could reset if you remove it and enter combat again. Yeah, it needs to be removed from the card if there's no longer a valid card. Which, instead of maintaining a bunch of state, I usually like to just prefer... Like, this get all abilities is called anytime I need to iterate over all of the abilities. It's also called when I want to display the card description. So it'd be nice just to have this get all abilities return an ability that corresponds to the Iron Gauntlet's damage when it gets called. But the problem is that I don't have the context that I need inside of get all abilities. I don't have the artifact context in here to like iterate over all of the artifacts and call this get composed abilities here. Can you do generics in C# Godot? Yes, you can. Freedom, yes indeed. Welcome, Adam. Good to see you. Any key, happy 4th to you. Oh, I love the little story that you're telling there. So we celebrate 4th of July. We hurt ourselves with fireworks, and then we have to pay a lot of money for healthcare. Yeah, yeet. Oh, goodness. Anyway. So I don't have any idea how to do this. Should I ask the AI what it recommends? I have an Iron Gauntlet script that needs to add conditionally simple damage ability. Let's do Claude, yeah. Simple damage ability to a card. I want that ability to let's see, the way I've implemented this is by having an overridable get composed abilities function on base artifact. However, inside of the base card, base card, get all abilities script function I don't have the proper artifact context. To iterate over all of the artifacts to call get composed abilities on. Recommend some ways I can provide the proper context in a way that is extensible and maintainable and minimally clutters the code base. Let's see what it says. Can you go over a bit on how you did the text when you hover over items? What exactly about the text? Are you talking about the tooltip? The recent bill is going to cut a lot of health insurance on a lot of people, right? Yeah, the public health insurance. Which is, what is it? Medicare? I don't know. I'm not on public health insurance. Anyway, context-aware ability collection recommended. Get all abilities that accepts context while keeping the parameterless version for backward compatibility. No, I don't want to do that. Oh, wait, here we go. Option 2, create a service that manages ability collection. Ability collection service. Event-driven approach. Make artifacts register their abilities dynamically. The problem with option 1 is that I want a single point to fetch all abilities. I don't want to be able to call all abilities without also including any abilities that might come from an artifact. Description when you hover objects, mainly I'm thinking how to do it generally so it will work for every type of object. I mean, it's just basically a couple of parts. You have to detect the mouse enter when you hover over something. You need to be able to get a description for that something, so that could be coming from a resource like it is in my case. And I'm using a rich text to color the text. So it's, I mean, if you're trying to make it to do it generically, the only way to do that is you'd have to have, if you want to make it like maximally generic, you'd have to have a way of knowing, like, what you could do is in C# you could have like an iDescription provider or something like that in an interface, and then you could say the tooltip will just take any item that has an iDescription, that is an iDescription provider, and we'll call get description on that. But in my case, it's just like I build a tooltip per resource. So I have an artifact resource, and it knows that the artifact resource is in that UI element, and so it can just call get description on that directly. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, Adam. Happy Freedom Day, yes indeed. On your business, taxes as Copilot, a service you pay for, or an employee? I don't know. Admittedly, I haven't really done a lot of effort in trying to like reduce my tax burden with my various business expenses. So I may try to do that for tax year 2025, but I just like, it's too much of a hassle. I just like pay what I'm supposed to pay and then I just don't worry about it. But I think I was reading up, I want to build a new PC, and that can be used as a tax deduction if it's used for business, which mine will be. So I may try to get a little bit of tax break on that, but yeah, it's too much. The only politics that matters is the end of the monarchy, control of distant colonies, and the establishment of the greatest country in history. There you go, Adam. There you go. That's funny. Yeah, in solidarity with my forefathers, I will be banning anyone that's from the UK in this chat. So, you've been warned. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thanks. I think I'll do it the interface approach. That sounds good. Yeah. Can you deduct the Steam $100 fee? I'm pretty sure you could. Yeah, anything that classifies as like a business expense can be deducted. But again, it's like, you know, do I want to run the risk of being like hyper detailed about my deductions and then get audited? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. In my mind, it's like, if I just pay the maximum taxes that I'm supposed to pay, then it like minimizes the risk that I'm gonna have to go through the headache of being audited, you know? It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, I didn't claim any deductions. I paid the max I'm supposed to pay. What are you gonna audit me for? Today is the IRS stream. Oh goodness. Whatever. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So let's see. Third, local or static context. What the heck is this? Public IEnumerable. Oh, let's see. Get abilities. Ability clear. This is not working. Create artifact context. Dependency injection with required registration. Set artifact context. The problem is the artifact context changes. Event-based. I really don't know what it's doing here. I don't want to do that either. I mean, the easy way to get this working in this case is just to pass in an artifact context into here, into this get all abilities. But I really don't... because this is a public method, so anywhere where I call this in the code, which is in 4 different places, so 4 different scripts. Now I need to construct an artifact context every time I call this, and then pass in the artifact context in here. So I don't want to do that. I definitely like the idea of like registering abilities instead, but the problem is I can't do that just on the base cards that currently exist. Any new base card that gets created needs to have a way of registering those temporary abilities. Oh. No, I have some... So a couple of things. One, the artifact context changes quite frequently in terms of what data is available in it. 2, what was the second thing I was going to say? New cards can be added to the game. And we'll also need to have artifact abilities added to them. I prefer not to maintain any long-lived state. I'd rather the state be assembled prior to get all abilities being called, so that it's guaranteed to be accurate at the moment it is called. I use TurboTax for small business and it's awesome. I have a very good CPA that I like. It's like a little family business. It's relatively cheap and they do a great job. But yeah, TurboTax is a great option too. The Uncle Sam stream, yes indeed. I should have changed my banners to like American flags, but anyway. Any cost associated with the business is a cost: computer, publishing fees, internet, rent on the room your office is in, etc. Yeah, maybe I should be more aggressive about that. Just ask you questions, you answer it, and it has a little slider to show a thread of audit. Keep it green and you're good to go. As a woodworker, I have a lot of daily expenses I have to claim. Yeah. Heading home during a thunderstorm, fun. Well, I hope you drive safe. I hope you get home safe. And thank you, Night Raven Games. Yes, good luck to you. Be very careful. Why didn't you wear an Uncle Sam costume? Gee dang it. I should have hopped on Temu and ordered a whole Uncle Sam outfit. Anyway. Given your requirements, so where did I go? Oops, something happened. Event-based ability registration, but with a twist, make it happen just in time rather than long-lived. I don't like this because now I have to know to call refresh temporary abilities anytime I want an ability list. Let's think outside the box. Is there a kind of third manager I can add or interface with that will handle all these details for me? You could write on McDonald's as a business expense. Yeah, I could. I don't know. Nothing more American than buying an Uncle Sam outfit from China. Yes, indeed. My kid born 2 days ago. Congratulations, Ariane. I should have told my wife to hold until today so he would be born the ultimate patriot. Seriously. But congratulations, Ariane. Very nice. Firebell E. Welcome, Ada Ant. We're vibe coding? We are not vibe coding. I am using the AI as an advanced rubber duck to do some exploration of certain architecture I could take for this problem I'm having. And I'm not liking any of the solutions that are being presented to me right now. I actually had a conversation with my friend last night about vibe coding generally and how much of a problem it's presenting, because people vibe code like entire code bases and then there's no intentionality behind it or anything. And so experienced developers like myself and my friend, we go into the code base and I'm like, there's no rhyme or reason to anything that's happening. It's just a bunch of functions that do things floating around. It's not a good thing to vibe code your way into something. Get all abilities. Ability collection service. Ability collection service. This is not great though when I need to call get all abilities in a different context, like in Card Inspector. Technically, you could also write off the costume because it's for the stream. Good idea. Rubber duck, yeah. What are your thoughts about stop killing games? I was already asked that later in the stream. I guess it's on everyone's mind. My answer, I think, was I don't pay attention really to anything that goes on in Europe, so I don't have an opinion on it. I don't even know really what's happening with it. Here we go. Is using C# better than using GGScript? No, I wouldn't say so. No. I would not say so. Context provider service. Here we go. Current artifact context. Set artifact context. Okay. No, let's do it. Do another approach with keeping the game context service, but abandoning the ability collection service. How would I populate the game context service with data properly? Okay, where is this happening? I already have a game context, which is the execution context. So what would be the problem if I were to do this? Inside of base card, if I now expect an execution context, where is this going to break? Getability of type. Where is this being used? Is this not being used anywhere? Oh, well, I can just remove that then. This might be a little bit This is looking a little bit gnarly. Oops, what happened here? Accept word control right arrow. There we go. This is going to be a mess maybe, but let's see. Am I using this has ability anywhere? I am. Oh. Hold on a second. Oops. Let me try something. Get tree. This is only available on Node. Hello, what do you think what you do in C# could be done only in GDScript? No, I don't think there's anything that I'm doing in C# that can't be done in GDScript. I think, yeah, GDScript is perfectly capable. Aside from the stuff like abstract classes and interfaces and stuff. Is Godot games more optimized than Unity's or Unreal? I'm thinking not as GDScript like Python. I don't think the optimization mostly comes down to the scripting language. I think it mostly comes down to the actual under the hood rendering pipelines. So, happy 4th of July. Yes, you as well. Neozoid, welcome back. I prefer to use C# because I'm more used to it and comfortable with it. Yeah, I think that's a good reason to use it. At some point, it's like comparing French and German. Use whatever you speak better. Yes. Do any of you watch Legal Eagle? I do not. I am clodding, yes. Escapism art time. I have an idea. I don't know how well this is going to work, but I'm actually going to undo these changes that I've done. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep this very narrowly tailored. So on my base card here, this get all abilities. What I'm going to do in here is I'm just going to try to make this reach out to some global game state, which is not ideal, but I really don't know a better way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I might create a context helper auto load. So let's do that. I'm just going to make it a pure script, I think. New file, context helper, namespace, game.autoload, public partial class, context helper, extends node. So what I'm going to do in here is public static create, let's do execution context, and then create execution context. No. Okay, so in here, I'm going to get rid of this create here. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out. And then in here, no, we're going to do this. This dot get artifact manager, create execution context, and then we need an instance. So private context helper instance. Let's do init node. If what equals, oh, this is not a scene though. Notification. Let's just do enter tree, I guess. Well, I can just do this here then. Public override void enter tree. Instance equals this. Static Now this can be instance here. Oops, this needs to be using game.util, return new execution context is inaccessible due to its protection level. That's okay. I'm going to get rid of this create enhanced. Public static create enhanced execution context. Okay, so the benefit of doing this is that this is in the tree now, so I can access any data that needs to be in the tree. My cat is sneezing. Oh, there he goes. Anyway, so this becomes now context helper dot create enhanced execution context. This becomes context helper create enhanced execution context. Okay. So I should probably just replace all the places where this needs to be. I'm just going to build the game and let it tell me where the errors are. Isn't stash just an undo command for coding? Well, it's not necessarily an undo because it stores the changes in your stash. Text helper, create execution context. Now I don't need to supply get tree in there. So the benefit of this is that because this is static, I can call this create execution context even in places now where I don't have access to the scene tree, because that context helper is in the tree now. And I need the scene tree so that I can go to the artifact manager and so that I can do other things as well. So the context helper now is like the central location where I can create the execution context that I need and pre-populate that with data. So context helper, create execution context. I hope this works out the way that I want it to. I think it will, but we're gonna have to see. So card inspector now, so I can do context helper, create execution context. And the idea is that when I call this, it should be stuffed with as much data as I can possibly get right here. But then any other execution context that needs to be added will be added. So I think that's great. Okay, so I should have fixed all those. So what I probably should do is just make sure everything works as expected before I go further. Oh, it's not going to work because I didn't add it as an auto load. Yeah, so project settings, globals, auto load, scripts, auto load, context helper, add. We'll make this the first one. There we go. Okay. So now everything should work. Should be exactly the same because I just moved some stuff around, that's all. But now the benefit of that is that I can create that context on demand when I need it. And so that means that I can do this. Let me think. Oops. Context helper. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure that this is always non-null. We're going to set this equal to a new list by default. Do I need the scene tree in here? I'm gonna get rid of the scene tree. Whoops. Whoops. Okay. Public static scene tree instance.getTree. So now wherever I'm doing this, instead of artifact context.scene tree, I do context helper. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Context helper, I'm going to do scene tree root. Oh, and this is a what? A window? Okay. So now I can do scene tree root there. Then down here, context helper dot scene tree root. Context helper dot scene tree root. And then here, I don't need to create that. So this create artifact context now, that's being used. Right, so this is wrong here. Let's do this. Let's in our context helper, public static artifact context, create artifact context. And here's what I'm going to do. Do this. Return artifact context, new artifact context. But in here, I'll call this final context. If final context, let's do this actually. If artifact context equals null, returning empty artifact context. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to just make sure I'm alerting myself when this is empty, because that should never really be the case, but I still want to indicate that. Okay, so now in here, I'm not going to do this anymore. Create context helper. Oh, I still need the artifact manager, so I guess I shouldn't have deleted that. It's getting, it's a little bit wonky, but I think it's fine. Board inventory component. What? Oh no, board combat component. Can I not read? What's going on here? Board combat component, here we go. So I still need the artifact manager there. That's okay. I still want all the context stuff to go through this context manager. So where else is this create artifact context being used? Only in the artifact. Okay. No, here. Okay. Okay, so I think that's maybe better. Let's see what happens. Git stash puts the current changes away so you don't lose work that isn't ready to be committed yet. Yeah. Hello, Lucas. I arrived quite late. What is the context helper? That is just a way I can create different context objects that I need in the game from a central location. Let's just make sure everything works still. Everything appears to be working. Does C# have more typing support than GDScript? Yes. I wouldn't even phrase it as it has more typing support. It's a typed language, like you need to type things. What's your opinion on stop killing games? I know you're not from the EU. Will influence the USA. No, I don't have any opinions on anything that happens in the EU. Sorry to say. That's a beautiful phoenix. Yes, it is. Does the order of autoloads matter? Yeah, I mean, they're loaded into the tree in the order that they're provided. So it matters insofar as that it matters. Generally speaking, though, it doesn't really matter. Okay. What are you doing, cat? Oh, here he comes. So with all of that done, refactoring to support more flexible stuff. Context. So I need a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we're going to actually be able to implement this damage thing now, which I think will be good. So all the way back to our iron gauntlet now, finally. All of those changes were necessary to support what I need to do. There's a bird on my window. Okay, it's gone. So anyway, I'll be right back in just 3 minutes, and when I come back, we'll continue on with this work. All right, I'm back. I'm off to start the festivities. Have a good one. We'll have fun on this 4th of July, Schlurgy. And yeah, thanks for joining. In a game like Terraria where we have multiple weapons, what approach will you take to make something similar? Yeah, I mean, I think, I kind of did this in Gunforged, but it's like, you know, every different system needs to have a different level of abstraction, right? So I would have like a weapon class or a base weapon class or something that can detect like player input or handle the logic for handling the player input. And then when that weapon accepts the input, or it could originate from the player as well. So the player could send an input request that could go to the weapon that is either attached or not attached to the player. And then we could get some kind of confirmation about whether that, you know, weapon actually handled the input. And then if the weapon did handle the input, then you can play the appropriate animation. But I think it's hard to say exactly how it would work, but I think what I would have is I would have some kind of like weapon class or a series of weapon classes where it can just agnostically handle an attack request from the player, and then it does everything that it needs to do. And then the player would handle playing the appropriate animations in accordance with whatever weapon was used, and that could be configurable too. You could configure on the weapon like to play this animation. I think Terraria's animations are pretty simple, but if you had multiple different weapon animations like a wand or like a melee weapon or whatever, you would just configure which animation needs to be played on the player based on what the weapon is or what the weapon type is. So you just need to like create these layers of abstraction between each discrete piece of functionality, right? You've got the animation part, you've got the weapon visual part, but then you also have the weapon attack logic. All of those things need to be separate systems that communicate with each other in as agnostic a way as possible. That's how I would do that. Each weapon could have its own animation velocity. I was thinking of separating them into categories like basic sword, basic spear, and then use inheritance. Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you're doing the animation too. Like, I think if you're thinking about a game like Dark Souls, I think all of the animations exist on the player object, and then the weapon just says which animation it needs to play on the player. I would imagine that's how it works anyway. Maybe the player is doing some kind of check about which weapon is currently held. But yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it can be done a lot. Stop killing games is EU law that might force devs to keep online games alive longer. Cool for players. I know it's EU, but devs will probably apply it in USA too because it's easy and split policies. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just as likely that some places will just not make their games available in the EU. I don't know the details, so I don't have an opinion on it. Hello, Utch. Welcome. How are you doing? All right, so let's see. The Gauntlet. We need to do the Gauntlet. So now I can do this get composed abilities thing. Base. Did I get rid of that? Oh, I did. Public. Virtual. Base. Composed ability. Get base composed abilities. And then we can return an empty array out of that. Get base composed abilities. Public, or no, private simple damage. Do I want to do this? Equals new 0. Current damage, simple damage dot get. Oh, I'll just do current damage in here. Current damage plus plus simple damage is equal to new simple damage. Okay. And then when I can do this, I can return simple damage. Okay, so if this works, if you gave me a great direction to implement this, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad to help. Glad to help. But again, it's going to be probably a little bit tricky depending on your requirements, but yeah. So now, because this can do get base composed ability on the artifact level, what I can do now is in my card, in here, where is it? Get all abilities. In here, this collect abilities recursively. So there's a composed abilities here, which is a long-lived, you know, this is storing what abilities exist on the card. But now I can add just like a, I don't want to call it a transient ability because I already have that wording in the code, but I can have a sort of like an ephemeral ability that could come from a different part of the system, but is not explicitly stored in the card. So what I can do now is I can do for each var artifact in context helper dot create artifact context, and then dot artifacts, collect abilities recursively, artifact dot get base composed abilities, and then all abilities. So it's just going to do that same recursive collection of abilities inside of each of the artifacts now. And that's basically going to have no impact when they don't have what you call it. Hello, Juan. New to the channel. Do you do this full time? I do, yeah. I mean, I have a part-time job in software engineering, which is helping to pay the bills a little bit, but that's only like 10 hours a week. Otherwise, I'm doing this. And I just finished a new Udemy course for GDScript, which is creating an online multiplayer game in Godot 4. That Udemy course should be available sometime next week. And then, so I spent a lot of my past couple months on that, and now I'm going to be focused on this game entirely. So yeah. Yep, I am full-time in the YouTube / indie development / course production arena, I guess you could say. Okay, so that's all good. So now I need to add some conditionality here, though, because I only want... Now this is the tricky part. I only want this to apply if there's only one minion on the board. So that's the next problem that I need to figure out. Goodness, this is taking quite a bit of effort, actually. Where is this create execution context being done? Create execution context, where is it? Source board inventory component. Why is this being set? Oh. I think the only reason word inventory. Oh, I need to set it there too. I don't know why I'm setting this here. I think the main reason is because I'm creating a context. Where is it? In here, get affected cells. Oh. I think I do need that in there. But everywhere else, I think this is being set. Let's see. Create execution context. Okay, so here it's being set there, source board inventory component. Well, I'm looking for source board and source board inventory components. So that's set there. Source board inventory component. Source board inventory component. It's not being created here, but I think that's fine. So I think what I want to do actually is I'm going to get rid of this make dummy execution context, and I'm actually going to put that inside of the context helper here, which means I need the player board. Okay. And then also I need to figure out where this is being used. Make dummy execution context. That's only happening in card stats. So why don't I just do this? Execution context at card stats equals this. This is going to be functionally equivalent. And now I can do context helper dot create execution context. And then here I can get rid of this. Oops. And I actually don't need the scene tree anymore. Wait. Where is this being used? Find all references, grid indicator. Yeah, it doesn't need to do this anymore. Yeah, so I can do this. Where is this being used? Is this a private method in here? Yeah, that's private. Okay. All right. I think I got everything under control now. So the reason I needed to do that is because now in my Iron Gauntlet, what I can do is I can do var context is equal to context helper dot create artifact context. And then here what I can say is I can say var minion cards is equal to context dot create execution context. Context dot source board inventory component, because that's now being set to the player board by default. Get cards on board. Dot where. Why can't I do where? X dot card. Why is this being so slow? Reload window. It's bogging down for some reason. Given the strong type support of C#, I might have to learn that. Does knowing TypeScript make C# easy to learn? Yeah, for sure, yeah. Any familiarity with type system, with the type system is a good idea, or it will help you a lot. As flag card tag.minion. Goodness gracious. If minion cards dot count equals 1, return simple damage. else return that. Or I don't need an else there. I can just do return. Okay, so basically what's happening is this is going to go to the player board. It's going to, yeah, it's going to go to the player board. It's going to look at the player board cards. It's going to find all the cards that have the tag minion. And if there's only one minion card, it's going to return that simple damage ability. Otherwise, it's going to return nothing. So we should be able to actually very easily see what this is doing here. Who knew this would be so much effort for such a little gauntlet? We should be able to see what this is doing though. So current damage 0. So if I add a spider here and I click into it, we don't get anything. Why don't we get anything? We should see another damage number there. Maybe that's not working. Okay, is it time to debug? Let's debug. Let's debug. Here we go. Oh, we're gonna move that out for now. Oh, this is gonna be a little bit of a pain, actually. Well, maybe I can just keep that in there. This is gonna be another problem too, but that's okay. So context, what does our context object look like? Source board, player board, okay. That's going to return, so we got minion cards. It's not. Get cards on board. I should probably do, actually, this probably needs to take a card stats object. So my base card here. Get base composability. This needs to take a card stats object, I think. Do I have the card stats in here? Oh, well, this is a problem. Oh my gosh, why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? Is there a different way I can get the information I need? Oh, I could just do this. Yeah, I could pass in the base card instead, I think. And then in here, what I need to do is I also need to say, let's just do var card is equal to minion cards dot first. If card dot base card equals this base card, return simple damage. Okay, let's do this. If not minion cards dot any. If minion cards dot any not equal to true, return that. Card equals minion cards dot first. Okay, so I just basically need to restrict adding this ability to the card, because the problem I had before is if I were to look at a card in my inventory and there's also one minion card on the board, then every minion in my inventory would get the simple damage here. So I don't want that to happen either. No print F debugging. I'm impressed. Yeah, we're a little bit advanced here. Just a little bit though. So let's put this here now. And now if I go ahead and put a breakpoint here. Okay, so we've got our context, we've got our minion cards. This is returning null. Source board inventory component. Get cards on board. So let's do this. I just want to see, let's evaluate what this is. That's returning 1. Card definition resource, where is that? This is a card stats object. So base card, card definition resource. It's a spiderling. Tags, it has the tag of minion. Oh no, it is working. So now it's getting the spiderling there, I think. Base card, card definition resource, spiderling, yeah. And is it returning the simple damage out of there? It is. Cool. So card inspector, get all abilities. So why is this not working in here? So if I do this and I do that, get all abilities. Let's go ahead and just evaluate that. Count equals 6. Yeah, so the damage ability is here. Oh, the get composed abilities needs to be returned as well. Oh, I see. So get all abilities is different from get composed abilities, because this is like a flattened list of all the abilities, whereas this is, I see, get composed abilities. So now what I need to do here composed abilities is equal to new list base composed ability. Composed abilities dot add range. This dot composed abilities. Well, let's just say all composed abilities. And then this can just be composed abilities here. So now I need to iterate over the context artifacts. I don't want to do collect abilities recursively. I just want to do add range in here. All composed abilities dot add range. That. Return all composed abilities. Okay, all right. I think that will work now. Let's stop this. How do one make a context object? It's just a class with data inside of it. I returned. Yeah, you got home safely. Nice. Oh, is local to the city. Very nice. Going over this debugging, I see other perk of using C#. The type inspector works a lot better than GD script, it seems. I would agree with that, yeah. Hello, Dione. Welcome back. Why are they called cards? You expect certain behaviors from cards, meaning decks, hands, you can shuffle, etc. These seemingly don't share these behaviors. They're only called cards internally. I might come up with a different name for them in the game. But the internal technical definition, the only thing that matters is that I know what they are. How's the game? It's going well. Yeah, it's going very well. So here we go. Boom. See, we got that deal 0 damage there. And we're not getting that anywhere else. So that's great. So now we've got deal 0 damage. Now I probably want to indicate that that's coming from the Gauntlet. So how can I do that? Let me think. I want to ask the AI. Let's do this. I want to, let's do a new one. Be able to add a prefix to a description in a way that is configurable when instantiating any class that extends base composed ability. So that's how Gauntlet works. It scales with minions on board. No, it gains damage after every successful combat, and that damage gets applied to a minion, but only if it's the only minion on the board. So it's a little bit more tricky than that. Oh. I want this prefix to be handled inside of the abstract class as much as possible so that I don't have to call apply prefix in every inherited class. I don't want to add it as a constructor argument either. I also don't want it to be added as a constructor argument. So I have to rename this to get base description. Okay. Well, shoot. Well, okay, let's just stage these changes then. Protected abstract string get base description. So this is going to have to become... Oops. Get base description. And this is going to be a protected abstract now. Can I change the protection level, like with refactoring it? Can I do that? Change protection level of all override methods. C# VS Code. Oh my gosh, Google is useless. Google is useless. Is there, let me change to GPT 4.1. Is there a way to change the access modifier of an overridden function across multiple files at once in VS Code? I can use find and replace. Ugh. That's fine. So let's do this. Public override string get base description. Replace this with protected override string get base description. Okay. Okay, so now on get description, yeah, we're going to want these things. This is going to be protected though. Make this null. Cool, so this should still be used wherever it needs to be used. Oh, no, it's not. I think... yeah, here, get description. Is that the only place where it's used? Well, we'll figure out if it breaks. But now, in my... I might put this in the base composability, actually. Let's do this. Public string set description prefix. String prefix. We'll just make this private. That needs to be void. Okay. This can go down here now. So all that was basically just to do this. Private void create simple damage. Int, let's just, yeah, we'll just do create simple damage. Oops. Public iron gauntlet. Simple damage equals, well, no, we're just going to do create simple damage. And here, simple damage is equal to new simple damage 0. And then simple damage dot set description prefix iron gauntlet. Google is useless. Yes, it really is. My main use case with AI searching. Yeah, I don't know how Google got so bad, but like, I would say that a good 30 or 40% of the time when I'm Googling something that's more than like 4 words, it just does not return relevant results at all. Like, it literally nothing, the search that I just did, none of the first results were anything that I was interested in that would answer my question. So I don't know. I don't know why it's so useless now. Why are you staging files? How it helps? Well, the reason I stage files is because it's kind of like an in-between step between committing and... well, it's like an in-between step between committing, because now, because these are staged, these are like changes that are solidified and ready to be committed, whereas I have all these other changes. So I usually stage changes like when I want to create like a checkpoint that I can revert to, because now I can just discard all of these changes here if I wanted to. Which I don't want to do, that would be very dangerous, but I could discard all these changes that I've made and keep all my stage changes. So it's just like a nice thing to do if I want like a checkpoint, like if I'm in the middle of some work, but I also am not ready to commit it. It just creates a little bit of like a revert point for me if I ever mess anything up. I'll do this with my art too, like I'll get the base art in place and then I'll go, okay, stage that, then I can just feel free to be as destructive with the art as I want, and then I can always revert back to the stage changes if I need to. So that's why. That's why. Okay, anyway, what is the point of all this? Anyway, yeah, what was the point of all that? Let's build. Why can't it be public? I don't know what that's referring to. Sorry, that may be an old one. Even if the AI summary is S, we got Google to say Norway has a rainforest. Very nice. You're welcome, crazy golden apple. All right. So now if I put this in here and I do this, yeah, see, we've got this now, Iron Gauntlet, which looks a little bit weird. I think I probably need to put a space in the prefix there. I think the parentheses are a little bit distracting as well, but let's see. I mean, protected override instead of public. Oh, because they're the base description should only be overridden by anything that extends the base composed ability, whereas the get description method is public now, and that combines the prefix and the base description together. Iron Gauntlet deals 0 damage. So now I have a little ability that's being added here that indicates that it's coming from the Iron Gauntlet. And I can also change the color of that as well. So that's the next step. But first, let's stage all those. And let's just say, okay. Is this the work? Yeah, add prefix to Gauntlet ability. Okay. So now I want to change the color, but first let's just see if this Gauntlet is even working. So I need to only have 1 minion on the board in order to check if that number is going to go up. So let's put 1 minion on the board. Let's also do the phylactery. Let's also do this. And that should work. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just auto-resolve. And I won. That should now have 1 damage. And now if I look at this, deal 1 damage. Where did my Iron Gauntlet prefix go? What happened? Did I destroy something on accident? Oh, I forgot to call, yeah, I forgot to call create simple damage here. So it is removing the prefix. Okay. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. So this system definitely could have been implemented worse. I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm okay with it for now. We don't have to watch all this. Okay, so Gauntlet deals currently 1 damage. Now if I do this, Iron Gauntlet deals 0 damage. Did I do it wrong again? Yeah. I'll get it right eventually. I'll get it right eventually, don't worry. Don't worry. Old slogan of mine, make it work, then make it pretty. Yep, I think that's a good approach. I think that's a good approach. All right, let's try this again. Let's try it again. Here we go. There's actually a pretty good poison build going on there. Nice. Okay, so now deal 1 damage from the Iron Gauntlet. Excellent. So let's go find another combat encounter. So the spider is doing 1 damage twice. when it hits. And now it should also deal 2 damage now. And this should be able to be affected by critical modifiers too. So that's just going to scale with the critical modifiers you have on your minion as well. So that's going to be great. My project manager said perfection through iterations. Yes, I think that's right. I think that's good. All right, let's see if the spider is going to do 2 damage, or it's going to do 1 damage and then 2 damage. Yeah, it's working. Nice. So now I should have 3 damage on there, and that's 3 damage there. Sweet. Now I wonder how the scale for tier is working. Scale abilities for tier. Oh yeah, it's just iterating over the composed abilities there. Cool. So that'll work. What else? Oh, we want to add, yeah, we want to do the BB code. So, description utils, public static string highlight text, string text, color. Oh, I can just, never mind. I think I can just do this. Iron Gauntlet, I can do game constants.create color BB code. Colors, game constants dot color orange. Oh, I have too many. Do I have too many? Wait. Oh, I did it wrong. It needs to be the color first and then the string. So hopefully, I think that will just work, but I'm not sure. Let's see what happens. Yeah, look at that. Now I might make the parentheses not... let's do this. Var Gauntlet BB code. Set description prefix. Open parentheses. Gauntlet BB code. Okay, let's see if that works. It would be cool to have an effect to show that the artifact activated. Yeah, I agree. I should think about that. I should definitely think about that. Let's see. Boom. Yeah, look at that. Iron Gauntlet. So now it tells you that it's coming from that artifact. Ooh. I've got a problem here. Wait, why is it a problem? Did I do this wrong? 24 by 24. Why is that getting cut off? Artifact container. Oh, I think this outline is adding oh, it's adding margins. Where is this being used? View owners. Let's make this unique. Get rid of add margins. And then we'll do save as. Material. Outline, no margins. Save. Okay, is that going to fix it? I think it might. Let's see. Yeah, it should. Much better. Okay, there was something weird happening. I think that the add margins on that outline shader doesn't work very well with the Atlas textures, so just need to change that for that there. Cool. Iron Gauntlet deals 0 damage. Very nice. So now we've got a nice little system in place for having artifacts add abilities to things, which is interesting. So yeah, gonna be interesting to see how that goes. Cool poison effect, thank you. You must have missed that stream. Yeah, I don't think you were here. But yeah, finally got the poison looking decent, I think. Little vial pops up out of somewhere and just blows up. How do you implement your core components to interact with UI components? Well, it's kind of a big topic, but I think the guiding principle you should use is that the data, the UI should only be responsive to changes in the game state. UI should not store game state itself. So when you think about the problem like that, it kind of clarifies how to set everything up. Basically, you inject whatever data you need into the UI so that it can configure itself. Don't store any game state in the UI. And anytime the UI needs to respond to game state changes, that's your cue to use a signal for it. So if you just sort of adopt that mindset, I think that will clarify a lot of things. Streaming on the 4th, this man is working hard. Yes, indeed. I love my work. I wouldn't even say that this is necessarily work. I like doing this. Bomb that implodes. Hello, welcome back. Coming from a software consultancy background, it was drilled into my head that unit testing was the end-all be-all. But now working on games that requires a lot of user interaction, is that possible? You can definitely do unit testing. I've never been a fan of unit testing, like even in a professional environment. There are some situations where I think it's warranted, but especially for like a solo project, unit testing will do nothing but slow me down. Like the amount of time that goes into writing unit tests, especially with like a Godot game, versus like the amount of errors the unit tests are going to catch is just like so absolutely disproportionate that it's not worth it. I'd rather just catch the errors myself playing the game than write a bunch of tests that may end up being useful like once or twice, you know what I mean? So, and I'm really just interested in being as productive and speedy as possible. So unit tests are just going to slow me down. MVC pattern, yeah, the MVC pattern, yeah. Model view controller. Refactoring and fixing related unit tests sounds like a lot of extra work with little benefit. Yeah, exactly, I would agree. Genetically enhanced chicken. In terms of UI versus model containing the state, I'm new to Godot, but it's def popular in web dev too. Yeah, I just think that, you know, my sort of like way I like to do Godot is like I like to not store long-lived references to anything, especially nodes that can ever leave the scene tree. So I try to avoid that as much as possible. The UI doesn't contain any game state, so all it does is it responds to game state changes via signals, and it requests game state changes via signals. So when I click a button that should do something in the game, that signal request is handled somewhere else that is meant to deal with the game logic. The UI doesn't do any of that from its UI component, right? And so, yeah, I think that's just a good way of doing it. I think that's just a good way of doing it. I'm getting a little bit hungry here, but should we go a little bit more? Let me think. Should we go a little bit more? Should we go a little bit more? Let's see what I got going on here. That was a big chunk of work, goodness gracious, but we have a system in place now for it. Let me think. What else could I do here? That's done. Interesting. Gain lifesteal, but max health goes down. I have a similar take, but was curious for experience perspective. Been on projects that had 4 usable tests and ones that had 1,200 we ignored. Yeah. It definitely, like, if you're going to use unit tests, you definitely need to be disciplined about them. And I think that, you know, I think that unit tests for, like, critical systems are a good idea. Like billing or whatever. Because those are where they can really provide a lot of value. Like where, where a failure would cause catastrophic results are a good place to have unit tests. If only just so you can say when something breaks in production, hey, we did everything correctly. We had all the unit tests, they all passed. Like, it's kind of like a CYA situation too, when you're dealing with a sensitive system. But yeah, beyond that, it's like not terribly useful, I don't think. It's like a shooter game. Do you store any data in your bullets? Yeah, in Gunforged, I was storing data, but here's the thing about that. So what I would do when a bullet was fired in Gunforged is I would construct like a bullet data object at the time that the gun is fired. It would pull in all of the data that could ever be needed by the bullet and then store that on the bullet object so that that bullet can pass that along to whatever it collides with, or, you know, because that's the only way really. Like if I need to know data about the bullet that was created by a gun and that bullet collides with an enemy and then I need to do something based on that, there's no really easy way to connect the enemy to the gun and like figure that, like, there needs to be some data stored somewhere. But I think I was referring mostly to like not storing data in UI elements and also not storing long-lived references to nodes. So the bullet didn't have any reference to the gun that it came from. It just had all of the data it needed created at the moment it's created, and then it can just work with that data from that point onward. If that makes sense. Maybe we could draw some eggs. I'm really pumped for the networking course. I'm going through the Survivor course and hoping by the time I'm done networking will be somewhat more understandable for me. Yeah, I think what's cool about the networking course that I'm going to release next week is that within the first 10 lessons, you already get into quite a few networking concepts. So it doesn't take that long to ramp up into it either. And then the rest of the course is just repetition after that, like doing more RPCs, doing more multiplayer synchronizers, doing more handling of player disconnections and all that stuff. But within the first 10 lessons, you get basically exposed to the main concepts for the rest of the course. And yeah, like I said, it's just a reinforcement from that point onward by adding new features and seeing how you synchronize different data and like what data needs to be synchronized and what doesn't, and you know, how do you handle visual effects and server authority and all that stuff. So I think you guys will like it. The game ends up being very bare bones in terms of its content, because a lot of time, like making a multiplayer game takes a lot of time compared to making a single player game. So, but I designed the game in that course to be as extensible as reasonable. So hopefully for anyone that takes the course, you'll be able to just take what we build in the course and just extend it very easily. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how people like it. We'll see. I hope everyone likes it. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like a failure. And you don't want that, do you? You don't want that. So anyway, I think I will actually hop off and go eat lunch because I am hungry. So anyway, that's it for the stream today. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. Happy 4th of July. And also, you don't want. I got a multiplayer simple game in mind, a board game. I'm also kind of curious how you take how much of an idea you can steal from another game. I think you can steal quite a bit of an idea from another game as long as you're doing your own visual style and like not doing an exact carbon copy of the mechanics. I think you're totally fine, you know. As a player, like I've never been angry when a popular game copies another feature from a popular game. I've only ever been happy. So it's like, you know, if you emulate what the successful games are doing, I don't think it's a problem. But anyway, Thanks everyone again. Thank you for your support. Check out the links in the description below. I appreciate every bit of support, and I will probably be streaming tomorrow again, so hope to see you there. It's like a twin stick shooter multiplayer game that we make in the course. Okay. All right. Have a good day, everyone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.